The Mine Subsidence Board became aware that there was an increase in flooding at Buff Point on the shores of Budgewoi Lake. Their investigations established a link between the flooding and subsidence from underground mining. The subsidence was unplanned and was as a result of failure of workings under the lake floor. This 500 millimetre of subsidence allowed water to cause concern to some 44 properties on the shoreline and adjacent to the stormwater canal that runs through the affected area. As the Mine Subsidence Board's role is to protect or repair property affected by subsidence from underground mining, it defined the extent of the problem and investigated alternative solutions. The initial response by the Mine Subsidence Board was similar to that undertaken in other areas. Immediately secure properties from further damage and decide on a long-term solution to return the affected area to the community. Given the option, 22 property owners chose to sell to the Mine Subsidence Board following the subsidence. 3 separate professional consultancies were retained to give expert advice on the most appropriate form of restoration for the area.
3 streets at Buff Point on the Central Coast will become parkland after mine subsidence made the area unsafe to live in. The Mine Subsidence Board, Wyong Council, Power Coal and homeowners agreed at Buff Point today to demolish the homes to make way for the park.
This had been considered the most advantageous for the long-term benefit of the community. Throughout the decision process, local residents were kept in contact with regular mailings and public meetings. Everyone had opportunity to discuss their own situation with representatives of the Mine Subsidence Board during property inspections, regular public meetings and the establishment of an on-site open house facility. Once the decision was made to proceed with the new public park, contracts were quickly let to Lusted Proprietary Limited of Wyong, and rapid progress was made with a development application lodged with Wyong Shire Council in July 1995. Lusted Proprietary Limited had already been involved on behalf of the board in investigating and designing the remedial works required for the road and other infrastructure. Now the key works needed were the restoration of the foreshore, undertaken by Power Coal, and the raising of the road surface, reconstruction of the culvert where the stormwater channel passes under Buff Point Avenue, and removal and relocation of services. Details of the development application were explained at a public meeting and at a series of open sessions held during weekends in one of the houses purchased by the board in the area. In August 1995, the board acquired the last of the 22 privately owned houses located in the proposed park area, and demolition of improvements in the park to be was completed. In September, Wyong Council approved the development application for the main project, and the first of 6 building applications for work to raise or restore adjacent private properties was lodged with Wyong Council. In October and November, work proceeded on the main contract documents and the tendering process. The board accepted the tender submitted by Robson Excavation Proprietary Limited to carry out the major civil works for the restoration project, including creating and landscaping the new park, reconstructing parts of adjacent roads and relocating or reconstructing existing services, and upgrading the stormwater channel. Work commenced in January 1996, with site facilities being established and erosion control put in place before a thorough geotechnical assessment of road subgrades and survey work commenced. New sewer mains, stormwater drains and pits, as well as construction of the new amenities building commenced in February, and unsatisfactory subgrade materials below the road shoulders were replaced. Work commenced on raising the first of the privately owned homes. In March, the existing vegetation was removed from the park, and existing trees that would not survive the landfill process were carefully culled. Bulk filling of the park commenced, and reconstruction of the road shoulders and installation of stormwater drainage was completed. The bulk earthworks for the park, installation of the new sewer main and curb and guttering were completed. The new park amenities building was completed to lock-up stage, and Energy Australia and Telstra commenced work on site. April saw contractors commence work on number 6 Narambi Road, lifting it onto new piers to suit the new final ground level, and on number 256 Buff Point Avenue. Number 260 Buff Point Avenue was the next dwelling to have remedial work commence in May, and Robson's commenced upgrading the stormwater channel and culvert. The main project was completed in September 1996 and handed over to Wyong Shire Council. The entire project was completed by December 96. Edgewater Park was dedicated and presented to the people of Wyong Shire by the Minister for Mineral Resources and Minister for Fisheries, the Honourable Bob Martin MP, on Friday the 18th of October 1996.
But when you look at what the Mine Subsidence Board does overall, I think we can all feel pretty proud of the work they do, the effort they put in, and how they resolve the conflicts. Doug, to the people of Wyong, to you as their elected representative, this park's yours on behalf of all the people from the Mine Subsidence Board of New South Wales. Thank you very much.
Throughout the entire project, the focus of the Mine Subsidence Board has been on how best to restore, replace or compensate residents for the inconvenience caused by the unforeseen subsidence, as is its charter. The Mine Subsidence Board is an independent agency established to provide compensation to the owners of surface developments that have been adversely affected by underground mining. Although funded by the mining industry, it is totally independent and seeks to fulfil its charter by restoring such areas as Buff Point and providing advice and regulation to minimise or prevent damage to buildings that might be undermined. The Mine Subsidence Board, putting service and the needs of people first.